Tidal Twister at SeaWorld San Diego is one of the most polarizing rides in the industry. The first comes off its classification. Is it a coaster or is it a flat ride? But the more pertinent one is just how bad is this ride? Nearly everyone I know who has ridden this ride, and that's an issue in itself, has had a negative opinion on it. So much to my amazement, I actually found the ride fun. Let me explain why in this review. Skyline Attractions was founded in 2014. This company has made some great coaster designs over the years, particularly for Great Coasters International. But their first forays into manufacturing their own coasters got off to a bumpy start. That is, if you even consider them coasters. In 2016, the company unveiled their Skywarp model. This was a more complex take on the highly popular Larson Superloop for two reasons. First, the rides would be much more than just one vertical loop. They could have Immelmans, inline twists, camelbacks, and so much more. Second, the rides could be classified as roller coasters. Whereas Superloops have the train fixed to a track that moves, the Skywarps have coaster trains that move on its own along the track. Drive tires launch the train through the circuit, so it's rolling and coasting through the elements. The first Skywarp was Harley Quinn Crazy Coaster, and it went to Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. This ride opened in 2018, but it was a disaster. The ride had extensive downtime from day one. I managed to get on it, and it was one of the worst coaster experiences I've ever had. It rattled profusely, and when combined with those bulky over-the-shoulder harnesses, it led to a lot of headbanging and discomfort. And I know I wasn't the only one who had that experience. This ride operated sporadically in both 2018 and 2019. It was standing but not operating leading into the pandemic, and then the park quietly removed it. Given my ride on Harley Quinn, I was a bit nervous when SeaWorld San Diego announced Tidal Twister. This ride opened in 2019, but this would have a much different layout than the original. Whereas Harley Quinn was comprised of two Immelmans, Tidal Twister was a smaller Horizon model. It was made up of an inline twist with a camelback going over it. However, this has been yet another problematic coaster. The ride seems to be closed more often than it's open. It was closed for maintenance with a crane next to it in 2020. For most months in 2023, the ride is scheduled to go down for a 3-day period of preventative maintenance. Can you think of any other ride that has a maintenance regimen this strenuous? Then I've heard this ride has often been closed on slower weekdays as well. On the days the ride operates, it doesn't open before noon per the app, and it may open far later than that as I saw from my experience. When we visited SeaWorld earlier this month, we specifically went on a Saturday to maximize our chances of Tidal Twister being open. I know that was a crazy reason to visit the park on a Saturday, but it's why we did it. However, it was on the ride closures board when we pulled into the toll booth. But right around sunset, we saw the ride testing. After a successful cycle, we got on it. I tried to film the ride with people afterwards, but it faulted on the next cycle, so we went to go see the Orca Encounter show instead. When we came out, we caught it testing and got right back in line, and immediately after our second ride, it broke down yet again. So I don't know how many cycles it ran that day, but it certainly wasn't a lot. I'm very fortunate to have gotten on it not once but twice. So in short, if you see or hear this ride running, make a beeline over there because it may not be running for long. You may have to go over there a few times to check yourself because it's in its own little corner and you can't really see it until you're right on top of it because it's so short. And because of how little it ran from my experience, the app was not fast enough to update. And that's a shame because I do see merit in this attraction. It does seem to be a good first inverting coaster for kids. It has modest speed and height. The ride is just 22 feet or 7 meters tall, so it's a lot more approachable than the park's other looping coasters. Most people I saw trying to ride this attraction were younger kids with their parents. I also think this ride looks pretty cool off-ride. You have a unique paint scheme with purple track and pink supports. Then the near miss of the track navigating the inversion and bunny hill is mesmerizing to see. Now I say train. While it may appear to have two separate trains from a distance, it's actually one super long and weirdly connected train. This will be a complex description. You have two passenger sections connected by a long line of wheel bogies. Each passenger section is comprised of 5 cars. The front 2 cars seat 2 riders apiece and are facing outwards. The middle 3 cars each hold 4 riders apiece, as pairs of riders sit facing inwards at another pair of riders. So each side holds 18 riders, and the full train can hold up to 36 riders. That is not bad at all. However, every single time I've ridden a Skywarp or seen footage of these rides, it has only been running one side. Since the trains load simultaneously on different load platforms, running both sides necessitates double the staff. So I'm guessing running one side is a staffing thing. But with all the technical issues these rides have had, I cannot say for sure. Once it's your turn to ride, you can pick any open row. If the row you want is taken, you can request to wait an extra turn, but know the ride may very well break down. I only tried the end seats, but I imagine those are the best rows for the improved view. Once seated, you have these big over-the-shoulder harnesses. Based on their size and positioning next to your ears, they are in a prime spot to cause headbanging, if the ride were as rough as Harley Quinn. So needless to say, I was a bit nervous on my first ride, but it ended up being fine thankfully. When you board the vehicles, they are lifted off the track to be level with the load platform. It is a weird and very complex system that reminds me of the old Bear and Curve flat rides. But once the ride starts, they slowly tilt down to the track. I would not be surprised if this complex mechanism causes a lot of the downtime. You then have a series of drive tires in the station that start launching the train back and forth. These tires are not on the track. Rather, they're off to the side similar to some flat rides. The train did jitter anytime the tires engaged the train, which made me think I was in for another Harley Quinn at first. But fortunately, the ride is smooth anywhere else. You just get a little shake going past the drive tires each and every time. This process of rocking back and forth takes over 1.5 minutes, and you'll hear some interesting noises all through this process. If you think those Zamperla Giant Discoveries take a long time to get going, say hello to Tidal Twister. After a few passes, you stall on the inline twist for a few seconds, so you get some ridiculous hang time. Eventually, you make it over to the other side. Now the direction of travel can vary ride to ride. I boarded the far side of the load platform for my first ride. Thinking the way you went would be constant, I sat on the opposite side the next time. I wanted to try going backwards, but the train ended up completing the full laps going counterclockwise this time. Not sure if it's randomized or weight dependent. As the ride gets more speed, the inline twist does get a little bit weaker. You still get good hang time, but it's not as copious as the earlier passes. Now that Bunny Hill on the other hand does not really do anything even when you're traveling at your max speed of 30 miles per hour or 48 kilometers per hour. It truly feels like filler. On the 5th lap, you start to slow down, so the hang time increases in duration. On the next pass, you stall out, so you get top-notch hang time yet again. The train then slows down much quicker than it accelerated, and you come to a stop where you began. The train then lifts back to the load platform. So what would I rate Tidal Twister? I would give this contraption a 5 out of 10. How much you like this ride comes down to 2 things. 1. Can you appreciate just how weird the ride mechanisms are? 2, and more importantly, do you love, and I mean love, hang time? This is one of the best coasters for that sensation. The early and later passes through the inline twist will have you hanging upside down for possibly 5 to 6 seconds. Since I enjoy hang time, that was really cool. The experience is not uncomfortable for me. It's just awkward at points considering how long it takes to get going. I am a bit worried about this ride's long-term future given its operational history thus far, but if they can get this running consistently, I wouldn't mind seeing it stick around. While there are a lot of better roller coasters out there, this attraction does compare quite favorably to a good flat ride. In long term, I'm a bit optimistic on future Skywarps. Skyline themselves have admitted the first 2 were learning experiences, and they have a fleet of next generation models on their website addressing the reliability and comfort issues of the first 2. So those are my thoughts on Tidal Twister at SeaWorld San Diego, and the Skywarp model in general thus far. What are your thoughts on this weird ride? Let me know your thoughts, whether it's a coaster or not, or if it's an enjoyable ride. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canobie Coaster. Thanks for watching.